Welcome back to The Explainer. So if you've ever tried to plan a multi-city family vacation, you know exactly how overwhelming and honestly ridiculously expensive it can feel. You know the feeling, right? You start out looking at what seems like a phenomenal deal, but by the time you're actually ready to click book, the total cost has mysteriously doubled. Well, today we're taking a structured, step-by-step look at a complete guide that completely cracks the code on multi-city family travel. We're going to use the data to show you exactly how to navigate those sneaky airline algorithms, dodge the hidden traps, and save a massive amount of cash on your next big family adventure. Let's get into it.
Seriously, think about this. Why does a 420 euro family flight actually end up costing 893 euros? This isn't just some hypothetical worst-case scenario. It is the exact deliberate trap airlines lay out for families every single day. We see an advertised price, we multiply it by the number of people in our family, and we think, great, there's our budget. But as we're about to see, those headline fares are mathematically designed to be an illusion. They hide a whole string of inevitable fees that families simply cannot avoid.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Section 1, the true family cost.
Get a load of this number, 55 to 70%. According to the data, that published base fare you see on a flight search engine, it represents only 55 to 70% of the actual total cost of your family trip. Just think about that for a second. Up to nearly half of your entire travel budget is completely invisible when you first start planning. This missing percentage is made up of all those unavoidable extras that airlines absolutely depend on for their profit margins. Let's put that into perspective with a real-world example, like a family of 4 traveling from Dublin to Rome. On a comparison site, this family sees 2 adult fares totaling 420 euros. Sounds great, right? But watch what happens next. You add a discounted child fare for 158 euros. Then, an infant surcharge plus taxes adds another 66. You obviously have to bring a pushchair and an infant kit, so extra checked bags slap on 70 euros. You absolutely want to guarantee you sit next to your 7-year-old, so boom, seat selection adds 84. Throw in an annual travel insurance policy for 95 euros, and your true total, the price you are actually paying, is 893 euros. The initial price literally more than doubled just by doing the normal things a family has to do.
And this brings us to a huge pitfall you've got to watch out for. Crucially, you really need to understand the difference between full-service airlines and low-cost carriers. Full-service airlines, like Aer Lingus or British Airways, generally charge children aged 2 to 11 about 75% of the adult fare. On the flip side, low-cost carriers like Ryanair and EasyJet charge children the exact same adult fare. Yep, zero-child discount. So a seemingly cheap 29 euro low-cost fare can be a total mathematical illusion for a family of 4 once you tally up 4 full adult fares, plus all those baggage and seating fees we just talked about.
Moving right along to Section 2, booking the smart route.
Have you guys ever heard of an open jaw fare? It's basically a single ticket booking where you fly into City A and fly out of City B, and you travel the gap between them by train or coach. This is an absolute game changer and the smartest starting point for European family travel. For instance, you could fly into Lisbon, enjoy Portugal for a bit, hop on the new high-speed AV train across to Madrid, and then fly directly home from there. It completely eliminates wasted travel days and, more importantly, stops you from paying for a flight back to your starting point just to catch a plane home.
But whatever you do, you have to understand this crucial difference. First, we have single-ticket bookings. This includes your open jaw and true multi-city fares. The magic here is that the airline is legally responsible if a delay causes you to miss a connection. On the other hand, you have self-connection, which is when you buy separate, cheap, one-way tickets. Look, this is a dangerous trap for families. If your first flight gets delayed and you miss your second one, the airline owes you absolutely nothing. Zero. You could easily be on the hook for 400 to 800 euros in emergency hotels and new flights, completely stranding your family. Saving 60 bucks up front is never, ever worth that massive financial risk.
And this brilliantly illustrates what we call the geographic arc rule. See, airlines price flights based on the actual distance flown. A logical route, like Dublin to Barcelona to Rome to Athens and back, forms a clean eastward arc on a map. That's your baseline. That's your most optimal cost. But look what happens when you start zigzagging. If you backtrack through Rome or do a double backtrack, you're suddenly paying for thousands of wasted kilometers. A double backtrack can literally add 200 to 400 euros to your family's airfare. Always, always look at a map and make sure your trip forms a clean circle or arc.
All right, let's get to the fun stuff. Section 3, beating airline hidden fees.
I absolutely love this fact because it puts the power back in your hands.
EU Regulation 2021/735 actually requires airlines to seat children under 12 directly next to an accompanying adult completely for free on flights departing from or arriving at an EU airport. So even though airlines are constantly pushing paid seat selection during the booking process, to induce that panic of, oh no, we'll be separated, the law is entirely on your side here.
But to make sure you don't actually get tricked into paying, you need to follow 4 highly actionable steps. First up, always book all family members on a single booking reference, or PNR. If you book separately, the airline's computer literally just sees you as strangers. Second, use the same surname where possible. This triggers the airline's algorithm to prioritize you as a family unit. Third, call the airline 48 to 72 hours before departure just to get a verbal confirmation of your seats. And finally, step 4. If you have a lap infant, paying the 10 or 14 euros for seat selection is actually worth it to avoid getting stuck in a middle seat, because the EU rule doesn't explicitly protect you against that specific scenario.
Oh, and we really can't ignore the infant baggage trap. This one is sneaky and often flies completely under the radar when you're doing your initial price comparisons. Traveling with a baby means checking pushchairs, car seats, maybe even a travel cot. Well, many airlines charge 20 to 50 euros per oversized item. But here is the real kicker. That fee applies per sector. So if you're doing a 3-city trip, those fees compound fast, easily adding 120 to 300 euros just in baby equipment charges. You definitely have to verify specific airline policies before you finalize any booking.
Which brings us nicely to Section 4, Timing and Accommodation Hacks. Timing is literally everything. This timeline lays out exactly when you should pull the trigger based on when you're traveling. If you are bound by summer or Christmas school holidays, you really need to book 7 months out, because those fares spike by up to 60%. Ouch! Easter requires a 5-month lead time, and Halloween needs about 4 months. Now, if you're lucky enough to travel off-peak around Europe, the absolute sweet spot is about 3 months ahead of departure.
Now, let's talk about a fascinating strategy called the shoulder window trick. It's fantastic if you can manage to travel in early June, right before many schools close, or early September, right after they reopen. A family of 4 can save anywhere from 200 to 600 euros compared to peak summer fares. But wait, it actually gets better. You also want to check the school holidays of your destination. For example, French schools close in early July, Spanish schools in late June. If you time your trip to avoid overlapping with those domestic European school closures, you not only guarantee dramatically cheaper fares, but you get much emptier sites and attractions too. It's a win-win.
Once you're actually there, where you sleep changes the whole math equation. As the data proves, for a family, getting an apartment with a kitchen consistently beats staying in a hotel. Just look at the totals for a 14-night stay. A 2-bed Airbnb or Vrbo isn't just significantly cheaper than booking 2 mid-range hotel rooms, which saves you well over 1,000 euros right there. But look at the estimated meal savings. Because you have a kitchen, a family of 4 eating a simple breakfast in the apartment rather than out at a pricey cafe will save an estimated 350 to 550 euros. That breakfast savings alone basically pays for one adult's entire return flight.
Finally, let's look at the loyalty programs that actually do the heavy lifting for families. Not all of them do, for sure, but these 3 are excellent. The British Airways Avios household account lets you pool points for up to 10 family members, which makes scoring free flights way more achievable. The Emirates Skywards family plan lets up to 8 members pool points. And my absolute favorite trick here, Air France KLM Flying Blue announces promo rewards on the first Wednesday of every month, giving you 25 to 50% off award routes. Set a calendar reminder for that first Wednesday, guys. It is a massive shortcut to deeply discounted multi-city flights.
So, let's put it all together. By mastering the true cost formula, protecting your family with single-ticket open-jaw bookings, enforcing your legal seating rights, and optimizing your accommodation and points, that impossible-seeming multi-city family trip suddenly becomes highly achievable and totally affordable. Armed with all this new knowledge and a map in hand, where will your geographic arc take your family next?